Greetings and welcome to a special edition of The Corner. I know it is early for some. I know it's late for some, but you know what it is? It is The Corner. Here we actually we talk shop. We talk about everything, in the collecting universe, from releases to announcements, whatever the scale may be, whatever the medium may be, whether it's statues, 12th scale, NECA, Mezco, Marvel Legends, Hot Toys, Sideshow, everything that's out there right now, even third party figures that might be interesting. We talk about everything on The Corner. But you know what? Today, it is special because I do have a special guest. I have a special guest. What I mean by that is a lot of people don't know that I'm a dual citizen of both the United States and Sydney, Australia. And I have a very amazing person from Sydney on this channel with me this morning. And I'm going to actually bring her in here in just a second. I mean, she's basically in the collecting universe, gaining a lot of hot trails on that, in that aspect. And so glad that, the thing is, it's about collecting. We want to have a lot of diversity, but a lot, we want to see it expanded. And it's good to basically see that, it's not just the men out there collecting, but we have the women out there collecting too. And they're tearing up and doing great things. And I like to bring that in here as well. So let me introduce y'all to my special guest today. We have Marvel Les in the building. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you doing, Leo?
I'm so good. I'm so good. I'm so glad to
Good.
basically have you in here with us today.
Thank you.
This morning. It's morning for me. It's your night. It's your evening, right?
It's my evening. It is 10:30 p.m. and
Got
I've
you.
got a coffee here that's stronger than a set of weights. I'll tell you that.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. So glad to actually have you in here with
Thank you
us. This,
so much.
yeah,
Thank you for
definitely.
having me. It's so nice to
Yeah,
be on the
yeah.
stream with you.
Yeah, I'm so glad. I mean, like I said, I mean, just catching some of like your reviews and everything, been watching. I was like, okay, she's doing some things. I was like, say, okay. And then I watched you on my guy Shane's channel, on his
Yeah.
show, and definitely, like I said, I was like, yeah, I got to get her on. Definitely, someone who knows her stuff. So glad to have you here,
Thank
with
you.
us. So before we actually dive into everything, I'd like to address the chat real quick, just to kind of just pay homage to them and everybody's in
Of
here watching and
course.
coming in. Of course, we have we have my lady, Latoya T. She's been following me, from the very beginning, and she's always tuning in. So, baby, thank you for basically being here. We have Daryl
Oh,
Smith in the building. We have AJ Agrusa, Don. We have the Collector in the building. We have the Tension Seeking Geek. My man's in here. We have Renz Talentino, Blitz 0065. Bob Dylan is here. And we have the Collector. So we got a few people that actually coming in and stopping through to say what's up. Yep. Daryl Smith says it all. Daryl Smith Jr. Rise and grind. That's what it's all about, man. That's
100%.
that's how we do it. That's definitely how we do it here for real. But yeah, that's already so glad to actually have you here. Let's talk about your journey. I want to actually dive into your journey. Now, also before we get there, like I know a lot of people, there's one particular figure that was announced today. We're going to dive into that in a little bit later. Don't worry about that. We'll cover that. But right now, I want to actually talk about you. I want to talk about your journey. You when you started. I mean, what really got you into collecting, and how long have you been collecting?
Oh goodness. It's all kind of a blur of moments.
Hmm.
I first started in 2017,
Hmm.
a very long time ago for me.
Hmm.
I feel very old.
Mm.
Uh, and what I started to do was customize first with just 112 scale
Yeah.
figures like Marvel Legends.
Okay.
I've got a bit of a creative side and I love
Hmm.
paints and sculpt work and all those
Yeah.
things. And
Yeah.
when I heard that people were actually putting paint to plastic instead of paper, it really piqued my curiosity.
Yeah.
And I loved doing it. And
Hmm.
then I actually started collecting. It all started with Infinity War. Let's blame that
Yeah.
film. It's all that film's fault. And
Yeah.
I was so new to the collecting game that I had just started collecting these Hasbro Pulse basic figures, the ones with like 0 points of articulation
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
all the basic ones, and I got all those little Infinity Stone figure things.
Hmm.
And then um a few friends of mine said, "Oh, have you heard of Marvel Legends?" And I said, "No."
Hmm.
And I just started doing more research, and that's when the customizing kicked in. and all the painting on plastic kicked in. And then, my goodness, I'm so sorry for the long spiel. I'll try and make it as
No.
quick as
That's why we're
possible.
here. We need you to go in. That's why we're here. So talk away. Talk away. I'm listening because we need to know your journey. So yeah, let's go.
Absolutely. Well, I would do lives. Sorry, I would do live streams of my customs. It was really basic stuff. I was very new to the party, and I was just enjoying it. And a gentleman discovered me on a live stream and said, "Hey, why don't you, be part of our channel? You can be the 1/12th person, the person who likes 1/12 figures, because they actually had a 1/6 figure channel." And that's when it all started, with this group of guys who were just a lot of fun. They were lovely people. I still am very good friends with a handful of them. Justin's Collection is one of them. Lovely guy, and his partner Steph, Aaron, all those guys. And that's when it all started. We decided to get a Hot Toys Winter Soldier Captain America Nick Fury figure. He was our first. And that head sculpt just knocked our socks off. It was so on point. I mean, look, you look at the rest of the figure, and I get so excited talking about this because it was an awesome time. We opened the figure, and he was very basic. I must admit, he was very basic. He was all the one color, bless him. A lot of the same materials, but because he didn't have much on, his posability wasn't hindered, and as such, you could do so much with him as far as posing goes. And although the accessories were very small, which was evident in the price tag, obviously there wasn't a lot to him, but the pistol I loved, the little details I loved, and the head sculpt is just wow. For such a basic figure in all his entirety, that head sculpt of Samuel L. Jackson is
amazing. It is amazing.
Oh my God, it's amazing. I just cannot stress that enough. And then, Leo, my boyfriend decided to be amazing to me that year. That's the one. That's the one. Absolutely. Dead ringer.
That's the one.
And my boyfriend was amazing that year when I got into all this collecting and stuff. He was just 100% supportive of me doing all of these things. And he loves the Terminator. His favorite film is Terminator 2. Hands down. And I think a lot of us can agree it is one of the best action films of all time.
Yeah.
One of the best sci-fi action films of all time.
Yes, it is.
It is. I started searching Hot Toys for this guy because I really wanted to do something special for him. And I came across this quarter scale Terminator T800 endoskeleton.
Wow.
And they were brand new. They were very hard to find. It was like a diamond in the rough kind of deal. And I came across one pre-owned on eBay that had been opened and posed, but he looked like he was still in absolutely beautiful condition. And I bit the bullet for 750 Australian dollars, which is a lot of money. Okay. And we opened that, and we were love struck. And then we just fell in love with Hot Toys straight away, and it snowballed from there. We got this cabinet because that's when I also started doing 6-scale figure news for the channel. And I also started doing it for Justin's Collection once upon a time, which I love doing. I'm doing it for my channel now. And my boyfriend decided to get us a display cabinet. And then we popped some of the figures that we had inside the display cabinet, and then we thought, oh shit, this is really empty. Let's fill it up. So we just went, like I said to Shane not too long ago, we just went on a bender and we just bought all the things, and we filled up that cabinet so fast. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful to look at. And that endoskeleton. And look, I was very upset because not long after I got the Terminator from Mike, they reissued him brand new for half the price, and we were devastated. But at the same time, we thought, you know what? We've got a first edition, and
Hmm.
that's priceless. Like
That's it.
you just can't.
That's
And
it.
I was looking online today just out of curiosity to see how much the first edition was, and it's
Yeah.
upwards of 2 grand,
Yeah.
brand new.
Hmm.
And I thought, yeah,
And
I
that's
got it
the
at the
thing
right
is like
time.
you were lucky enough to find a grill. Like again, we talk about this, and I know like the curse word pretty much within the collecting community itself is the grail pieces, but
The
this is
grails,
a
yeah.
grail. Like this literally
It,
is a grail. It's a grail. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there. Shout out to local Lou out there in the building. That's my guy from Figure Flex Friday all day every day and Collectors
love it.
Lounge. Thank you for being here. We got Marvel Legends UK, yo, Les in the building. So thank you, sir, for being there. But yeah, like when we talk about these things, like literally, these are pieces that stand the test of time. And because, like I said, it was one of the most influential films of its time. It makes
Mm.
sense, like to capture and have some of these pieces,
Oh, yes.
pretty much in hand. That was the same way I felt about, and what I still feel about, like one of my biggest grails that I actually have within my collection right now
Yeah.
is Hela, from
Oh,
Thor Ragnarok. And that it was a pricey piece, don't get me
yeah.
wrong, but it was well worth it. It was worth the price of admission, worth basically having my collection. I love it. You know what I mean? And it's like one of those things where, you when you see it, you get it, especially if you get it at a really good deal.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
and there's no remorse at that point. You know what I mean?
No,
So yeah, I definitely
no.
agree. I know how you feel.
I mean, hello. Wow. I mean, geez, that goes back. I
Hmm.
loved her so much.
Hmm.
Her character as a villain, she was very fierce.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when that figure of hers came out, wow, they nailed Kate Blanchett's likeness
Yes,
to
they
a
did.
T, didn't they?
Yes,
And
they did.
it was just like her getup was just resplendent. That headwear, just wow. You can't find her at the moment on Australia's eBay. No
Mhm.
chance.
Yeah.
And I am
Mhm.
so happy for people who actually
Yeah.
got her because wow, she is just a piece to look at and
It's
pose. Wow.
yeah. It's an amazing piece. And the thing
Mm.
is, it's like you don't appreciate it as much until you actually have her in hand. Like once you
Yeah.
actually have her in hand, and you're able to basically see just the detail, the quality they've actually put into this figure, it's like,
Mm.
yo, yeah, I was hooked from day one. I was definitely hooked from day one, and it's a piece that I
Oh,
would never, regardless of how I feel, my personal feelings about Thor: Love and Thunder, it soured my taste for like movies, for pretty much the IP itself. Hopefully they get it back on track, but regardless, there's some good figures coming out of it. But yeah, this piece was phenomenal. So when you talk about like some of the pieces that are hard to find, but it's like you just can't resist, this is one of them for me, definitely.
oh, 100%. And, it's no contest. And so many other people that I've spoken to about Hella just think that she was gorgeous. I mean, I can't remember how she did on the pre order front, but she sold out really quickly. She sold
Hmm.
out as quickly as Gamora did. Gamora
Yeah.
flew. Like
Yeah.
she just disappeared off the map
Hmm.
and we haven't had her since. There's been no reissue,
None.
no third batch that I know of,
Hmm.
and it's the same with Hella. She was never reissued, never
Hmm.
released as a third batch. And
Yeah.
a lot of people, myself included, are kind of kicking themselves for it
Yeah.
because she was gorgeous. And you know what? Of all of the figures that Mike and I went out on a bender for, I'm so devastated that she wasn't one of them because we just couldn't find her anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere,
Yeah,
you know.
definitely. Oh, here's a friend of mine. Don't forget about Jen Urso. You already, bro. You
Jen.
already know. You already know. You already know that everybody bags on me about it because like Jen Urso is my grail of all grails. That is the best figure that I actually have in my collection, bar none, hands
Mm,
down. It's such an amazing piece. Just the tailoring, the accessories that comes
yeah.
with it. It's such a fun figure. And plus I love Rogue One. Is definitely one of my favorite films. So they back me out because when I talk about the collection, I always talk about that figure. So yes, don't want to forget about that. So William, you already know what it is, man. Um,
Yeah, Jyn Erso was actually a very pleasant surprise, and so was
yeah,
Rogue One. No one was
yeah,
expecting it to be so good, and
yeah.
that figure was incredible. And the
Mm-hmm.
thing is, when it comes to Star Wars figures, a lot of the figures released are men,
Mm-hmm.
because the majority of characters in the Star Wars world are men, and
Yeah,
just
yeah,
justifiably so. There's nothing wrong with that. It's the way the story was written.
yeah.
So when these female characters came out,
Mm-hmm.
it was just mind blowing. And Ray
Yeah,
looked very beautiful as well. She
yeah.
looked gorgeous.
Yes, yes.
Another grail that I would love to mention is the Empire Strikes Back Hoth Leia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have
Can
her
I get an
right down
amen,
here.
Lyle?
Yes, you already know. Yeah. You already know. The Hoth Leia is the thing is it's like so I remember before they basically made the announcement of the Hoth Leia,
Mm,
um I was, as everybody knows, like when I started my journey, especially with Hot Toys, the very first figure that I actually had was Kylo Ren,
oh,
from the Force
wow.
Awakens. After
Okay.
Kylo Ren, then I got Ray, and then I start basically trickling down that wormhole of just nothing but figures and everything like that. So after that, I got Obi-Wan from New Hope, so that was like my first OT figure. So then I
Beautiful.
started taking that journey there. But
Mm,
the biggest thing was I had saw the Leia figure, and I was like, there were a lot of things that I wanted, but I knew I needed that have that New Hope Leia, and
yeah.
then her death. When Carrie Fisher,
Oh,
rest in peace, when she passed away. I
mm.
was like, man, I should have, I went back. I was like, let me get this to pay homage. Let me go back and get the figure. And it sold out. It sold out on Sideshow. It was gone quick. So years gone by, I was like, you
Oh.
know what? I'll never be able to get this piece. And then a friend of mine at that time, Joe,
Mm,
he basically hit me up. Well, he did not hit me up, but he was like a member of the channel, and he
yeah.
blessed me with that figure. He actually found it, blessed me with it. I was like, yo, this is so amazing. I was a lost for words. So shout out to him for
Mm.
that.
That's
But
lovely. That is such a
yeah,
beautiful gesture. Wow.
yeah, it definitely was. So he blessed me with that piece. And yeah, everything ever since then I've been going back, making sure that I grabbed, pretty much. I had the New Hope Han and Chewie, because I got the
Oh,
2-pack for that, and that's amazing. So yeah, it's like when you get those pieces, the thing is, it's the quality that they actually and the time that they take to make sure that it is screen accurate when it comes to the likeness, and
oh,
that's what
definitely.
was definitely important. And they continue to improve, and even we see that, like when you talk about your journey now with like going from some of the smaller scales, even dipping back into like Marvel Legends and stuff like that. We're
Yeah.
seeing the influences, whereas the detail even in those smaller scale figures is starting to change, where they're starting to get those head
Mm.
sculpts. I'm really starting to see how influential that is. So
Absolutely. And the laser
yeah.
printing is very good for that as well.
Hmm.
I'm not exactly sure when they started to implement that, but wow, it made such a difference. Just the
Yeah.
laser printing, getting the
Hmm.
contours of the faces
Hmm.
correct,
Hmm.
to such a small scale is very impressive.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah. It's extremely
kudos
impressive.
to them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Definitely it is. And it's like when you think about it, it's like, just the time and effort put into it, and a nostalgic feeling that we have, our connectivity to like, a lot of, the IPs, the films that we see. When you talk about, you said you mentioned Endgame, but I see there in front of you right now, you have the Infinity War Thanos. Can we talk about that Infinity War Thanos? Because it looks
Yeah.
like you really do dig that figure.
I love it. You know
Mhm.
what? And a
Mhm.
lot of other people loved it too. So much
Yeah.
so that they made so many of them.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
incredible how many they made, and they're all
Uh-huh.
going online for pittance because there's just so many and sellers want to
Mhm.
get rid of them.
Mhm.
And you know what? I think what is most impressive about this figure is his presence
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
display shelf. He is so simplistic
Yeah.
that it's just beautiful. It's not
Yeah.
overwhelming to look at, and that head sculpt just steals the
Phenomenal.
show,
Phenomenal,
you
right?
know? And the glove lights up, fingers twiddle, you got the fist, you've got the open hand.
Yeah.
It's beautifully simplistic, and it's one of the few simple figures as far as villains go, especially where he's just so pleasing to the eye. He's just so aesthetically
Mm-hmm.
good. And
Yeah.
the pants, you just look at the pants and it's so on point. It is screen accurate to the T.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, at first when we opened him, I thought that the shoulder joint was a little bit of an eyesore because there is a bit of a gap
Yeah.
there. There's
Yeah.
there's no two ways about it. But I love the rest of him so much that that's just
Mm-hmm.
something I'm willing to overlook, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was
Yeah.
one of the first figures we got. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's very sentimental to us. And, the character himself in Infinity War, Mike and I watched that film 3 times in the cinemas and we walked
Yeah.
out thinking, holy shit, this Thanos guy, he's got a point.
Yeah. Like if you think
He's got
about
a
it,
point.
yeah,
Yeah.
like straight up.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it's a bit barbaric, but you know
Yeah.
what I mean, like in galvanizing, but at the same time, like he does have a point. Like I
He's
mean,
got a
it's
point.
you
The
know,
way
you
he's going about it might be a bit questionable, but
mhm.
the overall vision, it's pretty well founded and justified, if you ask me.
Yeah,
Kind of
it
kind of
definitely
creeps me
is.
out that I
Definitely. And
agree.
so here's the story. So let me tell you a quick story about how I came across my Thanos. Because
Please do.
so so I was at New York Comic Con, and at the time, Sideshow was in attendance. Now they haven't been there within the last few years,
Mm,
but they were in attendance there, and they had a contest that was going. So what it was is people online, or people that were following, pretty much the group and
mm,
following, what was going on at the con, they were to match themselves up with someone who was at the con. So at the time I was there and people knew I was there, so they would hit me up to help
mm,
to participate, because you had to partner with someone. So they would hit me up to participate, in the actual game itself. So,
mm.
I was like, all right, it's fun. So let's go ahead and do it. So I did it, and ended up that, this was one of the giveaways. This is what they were giving away, a Thanos. So me and a partner actually ended up
Wow.
winning this. And I was like, okay, I'm all in for it. Let's go. So, but what I didn't know was the rules were at that time that you can only participate in one game. But I had no idea because I wasn't online. So I actually
Yeah.
did this, and then I did another game, which I ended up winning the last Jedi, the last Jedi Ray. So I got that as well. So, but this was the figure that, I was like, yeah, in the presence alone, when you see it in person, it is a beast of a
Oh,
figure. But when it
yeah.
comes between this one and the golden armor version that we actually got from Endgame, I prefer
Mm,
this one because it's
yeah.
more, you know what I mean? You can see, like, I think he was more of a beast, in this particular mode, when he was more calculated, more, again, he had a purpose, a sole purpose at that point. And
Mm.
yeah, I just loved it, and the figure's amazing.
Yeah, and look, you make a very good point. What I love about him in this getup as well is that although the armor is beautiful to look at, and the creative department did an incredible job designing it. I mean, Jesus, they nailed it actually.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave it this really modernized touch to it, which was very interesting.
Yeah.
Um, but when he was just without the armor,
Mm-hmm.
he couldn't use his armor to intimidate anyone or use
Yeah.
it to lead. He had to use his own sense of self because
Yeah.
even without the armor, he was very, very menacing.
Yeah, he was.
And he still, had the presence of dominance and authority in the
Yes, he
scene and in
did.
the story.
Mm-hmm.
And, the armor just adorned that.
Mm-hmm.
It prettified it, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
and just made him a little bit more invincible, I guess, because he had that fight with Iron Man without the armor,
Without the armor.
without the armor and hardly a scratch,
Oh
all that
yeah.
for a bit of blood,
For all
you
that
know?
for just a yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and that's another thing I love about it is that, it's just something else. It's just
Mm-hmm.
something else. And
Mm-hmm.
the battle damage Thanos that Hot Toys came out with was very, very well done as well. It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
very tasteful. It wasn't over the top. It was screen accurate, which was fantastic. But the battle damaged armor also gives that Thanos a bit of fear in
Mm-hmm.
him. He looks a
Mm-hmm.
bit afraid. He is a bit fearful because, he's all scratched up on the
Mm-hmm.
armor. I mean, think about what that would make his skin look like if he wasn't
Yeah.
protected.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I find that in this form, he was at his peak of his strength, at his dominance, of his
Mm-hmm.
authority, and
Mm-hmm.
of his overall eminence that he was,
Yeah. When you
you
said
know?
fear, I'm looking at this, now with this particular face, and I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah.
that is fearful, man.
It definitely is fearful. Like when you see him, it's just like, yeah, like he knew that there
Yeah.
was peril.
Yeah.
Especially, watching, the behemoth of a ship,
Oh, yeah.
crash and, destroyed. It's like, okay, these guys aren't playing at this
Mm,
place. So yeah, I'm
yeah.
right there with you. I'm definitely right there. So let me ask you a question.
Yes.
When, seeing the evolution of your, collection and where you're going with it and stuff like that,
Mm.
how long you've been doing this, and where do you see like a strong transition from the scale you're used to six scale collecting? Do you see yourself even possibly going to like quarter scale statues or something like that?
Look, statues are very interesting. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate them. The artist in
Mm-hmm.
me, the creator in me
Mm-hmm.
appreciates the brilliant manifestation of someone's
Yeah.
talent,
Mm-hmm.
for lack of a better term. Um, but I love posability in figures.
Mm-hmm.
Statues, they're gorgeous, they're brilliant, they're beautiful to look at.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people can appreciate the static side of that a lot
Yeah.
more than I can. I can
Yeah.
still say, wow, that's bloody epic.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't have something just statically sitting there as a statue.
Yeah.
It's not something that I personally would enjoy, I suppose.
Yeah.
I love the articulation of figures. I love posing
Yeah.
them. I get enjoyment and a bit of relaxation out of that, I suppose you could say.
Yeah.
Um, from a point of seeing how my collection has unfolded from 1/12 to 1/6 to quarter scales, we have a lot of quarter scales in our collection. We've got the Jake Sully, we've still got the Terminator, we've got Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Who else we got? We've got a few.
Uh,
We used to have Gladiator Hulk, but the
yeah.
thing was big and just took up a lot of space, bless him, but
Yeah.
beautiful figure. And because, again, he's so
Spacey one.
big,
Yeah.
can't really do much with him.
Mhm.
Um, puny arms, can't do much with him,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah, yeah.
But they nailed him. And look, as far as seeing where my collection goes, because we just moved house, a lot of our figures are still in boxes. They're packed away, and it's
Yeah.
sad to me. At the moment, he is really the only figure that's out and about and
Yeah.
enjoying the fresh air, which I find sad. But, at the moment, our collection is on a bit of a hiatus because when we went on that bender and we bought all those figures, it was just a bit of an impulsive spending spree to fill the cabinet. So a lot of those figures didn't really have sentimental attachment to them for us. So
Yeah.
we kept a few, we sold off a few,
Yeah.
and right now we're holding out on any pre-orders or new stock,
Yeah.
mainly because of the economy right now
Yes.
and the
Yes.
fact that a lot of figures being announced are delayed. Qui-Gon still hasn't
Yeah.
come out, which he's a gorgeous figure. Padme still hasn't come out. There's
Yeah.
just a lot of things with pre-orders going on that
That you're waiting on.
I
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
I feel safe just to wait and watch and
Yeah.
observe. Um, and when Mike and I finally get our house,
There
who
you go.
knows? Who knows what will happen? But,
There you go.
I love these figures, and I love talking about them and discussing them and just analyzing the creative and artistic aspect of them. It's
Mhm.
what got me into collecting and figures in the first place, seeing
Definitely.
these artists bring so much to the table in forms of plastic and wax and,
Yeah.
even statues. Like, I see some busts out there and I think I will never buy that and put it in my house because the thing just looks too damn real.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very
It's
selective about statues. And
yeah,
and the
yeah.
thing is, it's like I have a few, like I have the Mythos Asajj Ventress. I have Maul. I have Storm from the X-Men. I had to get that. It was too gorgeous not to get. I have a couple of Batman statues. I
Oh
have
yeah.
my Revan is coming soon. I have the Wonder Woman from Queen Studio coming. So I'm very
Oh
selective.
wow. She's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. But I only get some that, again, I have to have a connection to it. So
Yeah.
I won't get them all. There's only a few that
Mm,
I'll actually purchase. So yeah,
yeah.
but I mean that's just where I'm sitting right now. So let me ask you a question. How familiar are you with the Bad Batch, Star Wars Bad Batch?
Oh goodness. I look, to be honest, I haven't watched it. I've been
Hmm.
too consumed with Walking Dead, but
Gotcha.
uh, I've heard great things about Bad Batch, and I'd love to be immersed in the series and watch it. There's
Yeah,
so many things to watch.
yeah.
I didn't even finish the Clone Wars. Like, I haven't even finished that.
Got you.
I'm
Got you.
so behind. But, I've heard great things, and the characters look awesome. The
Hmm.
figures that they're producing
Hmm.
are beautiful.
Hmm.
They just can't go wrong at the moment with the Star
Yeah.
Wars universe and lines. They just can't.
And they just made the announcement, well, actually early this morning, of
They
this figure.
did.
This is Crosshair. So
Oh,
they definitely just made the announcement of this particular figure. Um, Such an amazing piece.
it's
Um,
beautiful.
give me a second here. Give me just one quick second here because I think
Yeah,
I hear
sure.
the girls. I got to make sure that they get off to school real quick. Give me a second. One moment. One moment.
Yeah, of course, of course. Who's commenting? My goodness. I'm so behind. I'm so sorry, guys. Very envious of anyone with the skills to customize. Thank you, attention seeking geek. We love story time. Oh, thank you, Latoya T. Strange not to see you all like up to call email. The Spawn third party looks great, doesn't it? Wow.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry about that. Had to come back. Had to make sure that the girls were out.
Oh no, that's all good. That's
I
all
am
good.
back. So yes, back to this. So the crosshair figure was dropped. Well, really revealed. And
Yes.
here's my thing. It's like I can tell with this. Now we talk about the transition from anime or animation,
Mm,
itself to live action or the live action rendition. And this
mm,
figure, now the thing is, we had seen this, and I had seen this at Star Wars Celebration in California, in Anaheim. We've been
lovely.
wanting them to complete the line,
Mm,
and they're starting to do so. Like we know that we basically, like, they just released Echo about a week ago. Now we're waiting on it's Crosshair, Echo. We have Wrecker, we have Tech,
nice.
and I keep forgetting the main. Always, because the names, everybody keep me honest out there. Who we have next? We have coming after Echo. Um, uh, 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 um, it's on the tip of my tongue. Come on, everybody out there, keep me honest. We have coming next. Not Tech, not Tech. Tech's not yet, not next. because we just got a delay. Hunter, that's what it is. Thank you very, very much for that, clone collector, Hunter. So Hunter's coming next. Good morning, Mark P. So, but we have Echo that's basically been released, and a lot of people are getting. But this Crosshair, which is one of my favorite characters because he is a no nonsense character and reminds me so much of Clint Eastwood. He gives me like a Clint Eastwood type of vibe. You know what I mean? When the outlaw Josie Well type of feel when it comes to his attitude. But when I look at this head sculpt, like the transition, and here's the thing, they've made it so distinctive between each individual character. Whereas when you look at this particular figure, you actually see a bit of Tamor Morrison, but it's not always all him. You know what I mean? You see like a hint of his features there, and they're making it really evident that they want to distinguish these characters from each other. And that's what I love about it. This head sculpt looks amazing. The detail and the quality they put in these figures is simply amazing. So to see this and to see the quality that they are giving us, I mean, it's just like, wow, when they complete the line, it's going to be phenomenal. When you watch the show, like literally, it's a slow crawl in the very beginning, but we know we have the second season coming. I think it's going to go. It's going to go. And you said you haven't seen Clone Wars yet, correct? Oops, I think I'm froze. Hello? Do I still have you here, Les? Can you hear me? I think you're muted. Can you hear me? Oh, your audio. That's right. You said your audio cuts out every now and then. That's okay. That's okay. Don't worry about it. Take your time. We got you here. If it messes up, we got you. We're holding you down.
Can you hear me?
I hear you now. I hear you now.
Yeah, my mic is so temperamental. It's bugging me.
Hey, don't worry about it. It happens to the best of us.
So I'm using laptop audio at the moment.
Gotcha. No problem.
But and this is a testament to the creators of these figures and the companies. This is the difference between, say, Hasbro and Hot Toys and 3-0 and Prime and Queen, is that they're actually listening to their consumer base. And because they want to sell the product and they want to give us the quality for what we pay, and it's just they're getting all these brilliant artists on board to actually execute these beautiful head sculpts like the one you see from Crosshair. And it's not just the head sculpts, it's everything. It's that armor. I mean, look at that detail on his armor. Look at the back of him. It's just exquisite. And it really makes you proud to be so passionate about the 1/6 scale figures, because Jesus, they outdo themselves every time. And it's great that they're actually bringing out more Bad Batch figures and they're listening to their fans, because it's just fantastic. It's really, really fantastic.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, it's sort of like a baiting type of thing, is like where they kind of get you, and like just when you think you said, you're like, you know what, I'm just taking myself out of it. They kind of lure you back in with just mainly the quality. And it just goes to show, like, and here's the thing, like we talk about this, with this piece, with this figure, which probably will be up for pre-order later. And we're talking about how much a lot of us aren't pre-ordering right now. And I wonder, because when we think about that, it's like, all right, us as content creators, when we have these conversations about pre-ordering, not pre-ordering, the state of collecting right now when it comes to expense, and a lot of us have to really be careful with our expenses. But there's also that same thing where it's like, okay, well, they'll get limited batches, put it that way.
They will get limited batches.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So if they get limited batches, and if it's a limited run, like if they, lowered like the actual, so if we don't pre-order, you have a chance of basically missing out. And and we're seeing this now, even like over here in the States with Sideshow. Whereas there's, pretty much if it goes to blue screen, it lets us know that there's a limited run on this figure. So then you have to kind of like, then you're forced to pre-order. And I think a lot of that, and a lot of companies are doing that based on a lot of conversations that we're having, you know what I mean, as collectors. where, again, not intentionally influencing, but just telling people how to pretty much watch what they do, and how much they're spending.
Mm,
So I mean, with that, being said, like you mentioned earlier, like you have to really, really be protective about, not only just space but finance. Like, we're living in a world where the economy isn't really the greatest. I
mm.
know how things are here. I can only imagine how things are over there in Australia. It's like you really have to be careful, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to be careful because the costs add up. And,
Hmm.
I'm not exactly sure about how you guys fare, but the import fees are through the roof. I
Yeah.
mean, Hasbro figures have tripled in cost.
Mm.
They've tripled, and it's incredible, and I really hope that the 1/6 scale figures don't do that. At the moment, the main retailer for 1/6 scale figures here is Pop Culture, and they have been phenomenal to their consumer base. They've really upped the mark. They've gone international, which they weren't before. This is fairly new, very recent thing that they're doing.
Mm.
And, they're hitting the nails on the head every time when it comes to
Mhm.
making figures accessible to not only Australians but to the global community as well. And the
Yeah.
other thing about pre-orders, it's a catch-22 because when you pre-order it, you got to be sure you want it.
Yeah.
The pre-orders also give the manufacturers and the creators an idea of how many
Mhm.
people want this figure and how many they
Yeah.
need to make.
Yeah.
Otherwise the batches are not only staggered, but they're very limited, like you said as
Mhm.
well. So
Mhm.
the pre-orders do definitely assist with their production,
Yeah.
and it's a bugger. It really is. But
Yeah.
if you can afford to pre-order, if you're sure that you want the pre-order and you're financially secure and you're very unlikely to back out and you don't want to miss out, you've got a feeling it's going to be very popular, go
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, with Gamora, we hesitated on her and we missed out
Mhm.
completely. With Hela,
Yeah.
we hesitated on her, we missed out completely. It's those things. So, at the same token, pre-ordering is very important for retailers and for
Mhm.
merchants as well.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and we definitely see that now. Like, I mean, with pre-ordering a lot of these figures,
Mm,
it's definitely a situation where it becomes, more of a, I don't know, it's more of a situation, where it becomes, like, okay, what do we do? Like, how do we
mm,
handle these things going forward? You know what I mean? Like, what is the best way to kind of tackle these situations? You know what I mean? Like, do
mm.
we, sacrifice some figures for the ones that and it's all about, it boils down to what you love. You know what I
Yes.
mean? That's what it's all about. What you love, like what figures you love, which figures, you're willing to kind of like, you know, it's the level of sacrifice. So I guess that's
Yes.
where we sit right now. So I mean, again,
Mm,
it all boils down to what you love, what you're willing to kind of put your, all your ducks in a row for, and
mm.
just see where it goes. So I'm definitely excited about it.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And there are times where people, you know, get bored of the current figures they have and they decide to sell a few figures in their current collection and get the new ones that have attained their interest. And that's
Hmm.
part and parcel of being a collector and being a hobbyist in the 1/6.
Hmm.
And just in general, sometimes you do get bored of things, and that's just the natural way.
Yeah.
Other things attain our interest. If you were into Marvel in the beginning, but you think it's gone to shit now, then you're not
Yeah.
going to keep many of the figures, are you?
Nope.
Because it just leaves a bit of a bit of a shit taste in your mouth. Pardon my French.
Yep. Hmm.
But
Hmm.
and that's things change, people change, their interests change, their tastes change. It's natural
Yeah, it is. It's
as
it's definitely
well.
natural. And the thing is, it's like, what, we have to really understand that, with these sort of things, it's, a situation that, going down the road, I know for me, I've, even this past weekend, I mean, this past week, I had to think about, there were certain figures that I had I had interest in, even that I had pre-ordered previously,
Mm,
and I let them go. Like, it was like, yeah, I can't. Financially, I have
mm,
to kind of really, really buckle down and just have myself focused in on the things that I really, really love versus the
yeah.
things that really don't matter to me. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at. You know what I mean? That's basically where, I kind of dwell within that particular space. So I'm happy with my decision. If these things actually, and once they're released, if I decide that I want to get them at that point, then I will. It's just that right now, it's not something that I need. So,
Mm,
that's
yeah.
pretty much where I sit. And I'm happy with my decision. I'm definitely happy with the decision that I've actually made.
Yeah.
So I can't complain
That's
about
all that
that.
matters, Lael. That's all that
Yeah.
matters at the end of the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I'm definitely happy with my decision.
Yeah.
And I'm good to go. So, but yeah, I usually like to sit, I mean, with this show, I keep it, pretty much, bottled down to like a half hour, 45 minutes. So let me ask you a question. And this
Yeah.
is one last before we actually shoot out of here, and I gotta give you time to do what you need to do. Where do you see your collection going? Where do you see your collection going in the future right now?
Oh, look, I mean, I really hope that it increases
Hmm.
and improves, you know. I hope that, once Mike and I get our house and that we're secure and we have a backyard for the dogs.
Hmm.
I think one of them's chewing a bone under here, actually, at the moment. Once all of that happens, we can go ham again,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and continue enjoying the hobby and not worry about the economical pressures that currently plague all of us.
Yeah.
When you have a family, your priorities definitely change. And,
Yeah.
when we got our dogs and, a whole bunch of other things happened in our personal lives, it changed for a lot of us.
Yeah.
And, the figures that were really important to us, we held on to, and the figures that weren't, we sold off.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a very wide variety of collectors
Mhm.
out there, and what kind of collector you are. Um, we're the kind of collectors that are currently keeping it small at the
Mhm.
moment because of our
Mhm.
means. If you don't have the space, don't get heaps. Because although we love these things, we don't want them in our kitchen and in our bathroom and in our bedroom. That's too much. Um,
Exactly.
so we want to keep it simple, keep it tidy, keep it
Mhm.
beautiful,
Yeah.
moving forward, keep it full,
Mhm.
and keep it quality, and
Yeah.
not worry so much about the quantity. Because I think when we first started out, I can definitely say that you get caught up in the hype of a new release and you pre-order it straight away without thinking, because it's in the heat of the moment and you want to be the person that says, yeah, I pre-ordered this, so that you
Mhm.
can tell everyone you pre-ordered it. And that's what it's
Yeah.
like as a first time collector when you start, because it's so exciting and you get a rush and you do get a dopamine hit. Let's not lie about that. um, and I think it's a good idea for Mike and I, especially, to hold on to what we care about, hold on to what's
Mhm.
sentimental to us. And
Mhm.
if any figures do come out in the future which really take our interest, we'll think about
Mhm.
it. And we won't
Yeah.
just blindly dive into the abyss, black hole of figures. Um, but some people just want it all, and if they can financially, amazing.
Mhm.
That's awesome. I wish we could do that. Um, but yeah, we do have to be a bit more careful. Being in
Yeah.
Australia, it has changed. Things have
Mhm.
changed quite a bit. And
Mhm.
we want to be smart about our collection
Yeah.
because we care about it, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense, and I definitely follow you there.
Mm.
We got a $5 super chat by Ash Chase coming through. He's thank you very much for that, Lael. Just wanted to
Welcome.
say it's nice to meet a fellow Aussie. Definitely. Yeah. You already know how it is, man. I've been indoctrinated, and to meet less, it's a why not? You know what I mean? It's such an amazing experience. Just to kind of talk shop, and I miss Australia. I can't wait to get back out there and visit. I used to go to concerts at the Enmore Theater constantly. That's wherever there was a concert, I was
Mm,
always there.
and more.
Exactly. That was just mainly like my stomping ground. So I definitely cannot wait to get back. But it was lovely having you on today's show. I
Thank
cannot wait to get you back on again. Sometime I can, talking schedules will probably get you try to get you on Collectors Lounge International, or even say what Wednesdays, because I know you have your Wednesdays open in the evening
I
as
do.
well. So definitely would love to get you on as well. So definitely Toya T saying she's checking out. Thank you, baby. See you later on. But yeah, it's been such an amazing show. Everybody out there, thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
If you haven't already basically subscribed, please, 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 please make sure that you get over there and subscribe. So you can follow Marvelous on IG and YouTube. You can find all her, and it's I think on IG is what Marvelous Official, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, so basically, you can follow her on IG. You can follow her on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Follow all the great content. It's been a pleasure having you here. I'm a fan. Definitely
Thank
love your
you.
show, and I cannot wait to get you back on again. Everybody out there, it's Friday. You know what it is. It's the corner. Later on tonight, we will have Collectors Lounge International, so definitely stay tuned for that. So yes, me, my man, Loco Lou Luminar. It's time to go all day, every day. We're gonna actually bring it tonight. But again, thank you for being here with us. Thank you guys out there. Have a pleasant and amazing Friday morning, Friday evening, afternoon, however you want to do it. And we will definitely see you back here again to next week for the corner, or for whatever show we got going, Collectors Lounge Sunday. You'll see us then. So again, talk to you guys later. Peace and love all day. Let's go.